Hi Gators, this is Enneberg here with this week's vocabulary and reading lesson. This week we are on lesson number 26 and we'll be reading The Mysterious Tadpole, which is one of my favorite stories out of the Journeys textbook. Let's start with our vocabulary. This week we're going to be focusing on adjectives, which is a little bit of a review. Adjectives describe how something looks, tastes, feels, sounds, or smells. So we're talking about describing nouns. Let's go to our first vocabulary word, which is ordinary. An ostrich is not an ordinary bird. It runs quickly, but cannot fly. What does ordinary mean? If something is ordinary, it is not special or different in any way. So what words do you know that have the same meaning as ordinary? Some words that have the same meaning as ordinary might be plain, similar. What words have the opposite meaning of ordinary? Exotic. That's a word Blaine asked me about yesterday. What is exotic? Something that's different. Our next word is control. This rider uses reins to stay in control of the camel. What does it mean? If you control something, such as a machine or an activity, you affect how it works. What do you use to control a bicycle as you ride it? Let's think about that. You need to control the bicycle. So what are you doing to make it go right or make it go left? You're using the handlebars. That's what puts you in control of the steering of the bike. The next word is cage. If you own an iguana, you can let it out of its cage. What does it mean? A cage is a structure made of a wire or heavy metal bars in which birds or animals are kept. Why would a gentle animal be kept in a cage? I understand why you'd definitely want to keep a dangerous animal in a cage for protection from you. Say we went to a zoo and saw a tiger in a cage. I like that tiger in the cage so that he won't hurt me. Why do you suppose we'd need to keep a gentle animal in a cage? Perhaps maybe a little bunny rabbit or something. Maybe it's to protect the bunny rabbit so it can stay safe from getting out and getting into danger. Our next word is upset. This animal is upset because it sees danger. When someone is upset, he or she is worried or unhappy about something. What can upset a pet animal? What could upset a pet animal? You have a pet at home. Think about a time when it was really upset about something. Maybe it was barking or meowing. I know my Ranger, our dog, gets upset when someone comes to the door and knocks. That bugs him and he starts barking like crazy. The next word is sensible. These sensible hippos are smart enough to roll in cool mud on a hot day. Makes sense? Cool. A sensible person would make good decisions based on common sense. What are sensible clothes to wear for each different season? Oh, we have this conversation a lot, especially when it starts to turn cold in the wintertime. Sensible clothes would bring hat, mittens, coat. In Michigan, our weather changes so often, we have to have quite an assortment of different sensible clothes ready to go. Our next word is confused. Jack was confused. He had never seen an animal like this before. You seen this animal before? This animal's a platypus. What does it mean? If you feel confused, you do not understand what is happening or what to do. What story have you read or heard that caused you to feel confused? Why was the story confusing? Have you ever read a part of a story or a story and you had to keep reading it over and over and over again because the words just didn't make sense? That's happened to me before on a couple different stories. The next word is training. The training of a ferret takes time and patience. Training. Got him on a little leash there. Isn't that cute? Training means when people or animals are in training, they are practicing and learning a new skill. What skills would you like to learn through training? I've been having some extra time at our houses lately, and I've been trying to figure out how to make bread from scratch. It did not go well. I need some more training. I wish my grandma was around so I could ask her what I did wrong. Practice and training means about the same thing. And our last word, suspiciously. The wolf looked at the woman suspiciously. It does not trust her. What does it mean? If you act or speak suspiciously, you look or sound as though you do not trust someone or something. When has someone looked suspiciously at you? Why did he or she look at you that way? Suspiciously. Wondering if you might be up to something. Sometimes when it's a little quiet in my house, I go peeking around the corner and look suspiciously at my children to see if they're doing what they're supposed to do. All right, that's the end of our words. We're going to go back to seeing an overview of those and talk about adjectives again. Remember, adjectives describe a noun, a person, a place, or a thing, or even an animal. It's a describing word that tells you more about how something looks, tastes, feels, sounds, or smells. You're using your senses for that. So ordinary. It might be an ordinary looking bird. It might be an ordinary smell. Ordinary is an adjective, describes the noun. Okay? Control. Does control describe something? Nope. Control can be a verb. That's kind of an action word. Cage. A cage is something you put an animal in, so that has to be a noun. It's a thing. It is not. You know what? I'm gonna actually, where's my annotations? There they are. I'm gonna circle our adjectives here. All right, so cage, we knew that was a noun. Let's go to upset. Upset. If an animal is upset, we are describing his feelings. So if it's a describing word, we have an adjective. Okay. The next word is sensible. These sensible hippos. We are describing the hippos and their actions. They're not silly hippos. They're sensible hippos in this sentence. Sensible. Jack was confused. Our next word is confused. Jack was confused. We are describing how he's feeling. He's feeling confused, so that is an adjective. Training. The training of a ferret. Training is something that you do, so that's a verb. And the last word is suspiciously. The wolf looked at the woman suspiciously. How did she look at the wolf? How did the wolf look at the woman? Suspiciously. We're describing how that wolf was looking at the woman. So here we have some of our adjectives out of our vocabulary words this week. Okay, now let's go. Nope, not that one. Come on, man. Wrong page. Sorry, guys. I'm getting to the right spot here. So when you're reading The Mysterious Tadpole, I want you to be thinking about our target skill for this week. And this is a review of story structure. Story structure is when we're talking about the characters, the setting, and the plot. And the plot is the problem and the solution. Story structure. Stories have characters, setting, and a plot. Characters are people or animals in the story. The setting is where and when the story takes place. The plot is what happens in the story. A plot often has a problem that is solved at the end of the story. Look for text evidence that tells you about the characters, the setting, and the plot. You can use a story map like this one to show the main parts of a story. So as you're reading, if you were to retell or summarize a story at the end, you would be looking for those three main things in your story. You're going to talk about the characters, you're going to talk about the setting, and you're going to talk about the plot. Remembering the plot always has a problem and a solution. Usually has a problem and a solution. Let's preview the topic. This story is about life cycles. All living things change as they grow. When most living things are born, they are different than when they are grown. Think about how people change. A baby looks and acts differently than a child. A child looks and acts differently than adults. The changes that happen as a living thing grows are called its life cycle. When you read, you will read about how Lewis's pet grows in the mysterious tadpole. All right, and here's going to be the first page of your story. This is a fantasy. A fantasy is a story that could not happen in real life. As you read, you're going to look for events that could not really happen and characters that are not found in real life. All right, the story was written by Stephen Kellogg. I hope you enjoy it. Your essential question that you're going to be thinking about is, how do some animals change as they grow? When you are finished reading the story, you will go ahead and get out your reader's notebook and turn to page 164 to answer these questions. Now, when you're answering the questions, you can go back to the pages and they will help you focus in on your answer. You are going to be writing a letter. You are going to pretend that you are the main character in the story, Lewis. It says, write a letter. Hi, I am Lewis. My uncle gave me a pet. Use the text and illustrations to help me write letters about my amazing pet. See how I was pretending that I was Lewis when I was saying that? That's what I want you to do too. When you answer the questions, you're pretending you're Lewis talking to Uncle McAllister. The first question asks, write a letter from Lewis to Uncle McAllister. But you're going to use the information on page 386 and 387 as the main topic of your letter. You're going to keep going. We have another letter to write, but we're going to use pages 388 and 391 as the main topic for the next letter. And this keeps going. Going back to those pages as you need them to write those letters to Uncle McAllister, pretending that you are Lewis. If you want some additional work from your close reader, the informational text that goes as a companion text with the mysterious tadpole is on page 122, and it's called From Eggs to Frogs. That's it for your reading and vocabulary lesson today. Have fun. Don't forget to go to Think Central to access that new story and use your reader's notebook to answer the questions. Bye-bye.